What he told me is that there was a newer surgery, which is what I did. And what everyone online, of course, at this point, everyone's like, okay, well, she did one of the shots or she did the sleeve or something. Like, no one guessed this because it's not a known thing.
So new.
So it's called Sadie, which is a very long name, but it's like the acronym is Sadie, which I would say is a mix of both of those surgeries. They cut out 80% of the stomach. They move around the intestines. I also was, got with my health issues, ended up having a fatty liver. So they actually had to like hold up the liver during that too, because it could be dangerous.
Today, we're diving into a topic that's been generating a lot of discussion online, Remi Bader and her recent weight loss journey. Not very familiar with this topic, but Remi has been a prominent voice in the body positivity and fat acceptance movement, and recently, it's become apparent that she has undergone weight loss surgery. This has sparked a wide range of reactions, and that's what we're going to unpack today.
My heart aches for the young women that follow her.
I did come across on TikTok, like bariatric TikTok, surgery, like weight loss surgery. And I was like, oh, I could never, while I have like this following and I'm living this life, like maybe in like 10 years, or a few years or whenever I'm less relevant, I'll do it. And I just think that day I was like, let me inquire. Like, I don't care.
Right.
Literally that next morning I called my back surgeon who connected me with a surgeon that does bariatric surgery.
And what is bariatric surgery?
Yes. So bariatric surgery is like a term of, it's weight loss surgery, but there's different types.
Okay.
And what I feel like is most common and what I would see on TikTok, the only one I would see mostly was the sleeve, the gastric sleeve.
Right.
Which is the only thing I was looking at because I was just seeing, the recovery's easy. It's not that big a deal. And maybe I'll do that. When I called my surgeon, I thought it was interesting because, who became my surgeon, he said, I explained the binge eating. I explained everything I was going through. And he's like, you can't do the sleeve. And I'm like, why? That's the only thing I would do. I guess I'm not doing this then. And he was like, basically the sleeve is where they cut out 80% of your stomach. It's like a pretty quick surgery compared to some of the other ones. And if you are a binge eater, an emotional eater, if you eat a lot and you continue that behavior, even though it's harder because your stomach's smaller, it's a real thing. It's not a myth that you could stretch your stomach back.
Right.
So
I have a few people that did the sleeve and that's what happened to them.
Right. So they're like not even, a lot of people go back and have to get a revision surgery or something else or go on Ozempic or any of those things after because it didn't work for them. And he was like, this isn't going to work for you. And I was like, why would I do something that he's telling me isn't going to work? Mm-hmm. So I was like, what's the alternative? There's also the bypass. So again, this is all under bariatric surgery. What he told me is that there was a newer surgery, which is what I did. And what everyone online, of course, at this point, everyone's like, okay, well, she did one of the shots or she did the sleeve or something. Like, no one guessed this because it's not a known thing.
So new.
So it's called Sadie, which is a very long name, but it's like the acronym is Sadie.
For those who might be new here, Remi Bader rose to fame on social media, particularly TikTok, for her realistic clothing hauls, her portrayal of different body types, and her advocacy for body acceptance. She was guest on a podcast not available on YouTube yet. So, when news and images began to circulate suggesting significant weight loss, it understandably led to a lot of questions and discussions within her fanbase and the wider online community.
I went to a very serious 6-week intensive binge eating program. Right before that, I went to Overeaters Anonymous meetings, which I'm not sure if people even know. It's literally like AA. You sit in a circle, like, hi, I'm Remi. And I tried everything. I was desperate. I did that program. And after that program, which I think was the summer of 2022, it would be the ultimate no to do something that had to do with weight loss after that. But that's when the Ozempic stuff was coming out and people started using it. I think I said this before. I'm not sure if I ever did, but I tried Ozempic before it was even a thing in 2020 when it just came out.
Okay.
During COVID, and my doctor was just like, oh, you're pre-diabetic, you should try this. I went on it. I lost probably 10 pounds, but I was really sick and threw up a lot from it. It just didn't work for me.
Right.
And then after the eating disorder program, I was I gained a lot of weight from that program just based on what they tell you to do and you're eating a lot. Whatever your program is, I gained a lot more weight. So I was even in more pain and more uncomfortable. And I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to try Ozempic again.
Right.
So I tried it again. I was getting sick every day, lost a little bit of weight, not a lot. I don't feel like it worked very well for me. Switched to Monjaro, tried that, same kind of thing. And at that point, it was like probably like 6 months. And I was just like, I'm not going to just keep being this miserable every day. That I went off of that and then gained even more weight. Like that summer, it just caught up to me. Like I just became, I do believe for me, and I have to say that because I've said in the past and it's turned into something else, like Ozempic and those, I think if it works for someone, amazing,
Right.
great for you. For me, it didn't. And it was such a Band-Aid for me that when I went off it, I got like ravenous starving.
Right.
I didn't do maybe enough therapy or things I needed to do to change my behaviors during that time. And I got a lot bigger.
The situation is also layered because Remi built a significant portion of her platform on the foundation of fat acceptance. Many of her followers felt a deep connection to her because she represented a different narrative, one that celebrated bodies outside of traditional beauty ideals. For some of these fans, Remi's decision to undergo weight loss surgery felt like a shift away from that core message. However, health is most important and fuck fat acceptance.
People are so interesting. Like, not just the people saying the negative things, it's the people saying the positive things. It's the way that, like, they're like, you look so happy. And I'm like, because I lost weight? Like,
Right.
what does that mean? I'm just, like, very interested
No,
in
it's
what
interesting.
everyone's thoughts are. And, yeah, even for years, not getting attention for a while from men.
Yeah.
And now getting lots of it.
Yeah.
With the fashion brands, I mean, all I did was I care about fashion inclusivity no matter what size I am. And I still will, when I'm working on lines, I just came out with a line that goes up to a 6X. I'm not going to change my stance just because of how my body looks. And even with that, the amount of brands that or designers that invite me now, but that didn't invite me before, I'm like you, I remember everything. So I'm like, I'm good. Thank you though.
Yeah. Like no beef.
Yeah,
But I remember.
Right. I'll never forget.
Never forget.
And I do
Never
do
forget.
think it's really, really interesting the way people treat people based on how they look.
It's fucked up.
There's a feeling of disappointment for some, perhaps a sense of betrayal, or even a questioning of the authenticity of her previous content. It raises the question of what happens when a public figure whose platform is built on a specific identity or message makes a significant personal change that seems to contradict that message. But health, don't fat accept.
Well, what, if anything, do you want to share about your health journey?
I do want to say that before saying all of this, I'm not a doctor and I'm sharing my journey, but I'm not here to tell anyone what to do. When I posted that video in 2023, I feel like that's when things started kind of going downhill with my health, September 2023, where I told people I wasn't going to share anymore about it. That's when I started feeling it myself. It wasn't just like other people around me. I've always had, noise and things from my parents telling me to lose weight, just like growing up with that. And, especially as I gained more weight, which was frustrating. I definitely felt that from like my boyfriend at the time, but that was more of what I wasn't sure. And I felt that from like friends and family, like it was like this unsaid thing. I think from the start in 2020, I gained probably like 80 to 100 pounds to 2023. So that, I'm not looking at it in that way, but everyone else online would let me know about how much
Right.
weight I gained, which was such a like mind, can I say fuck?
Yeah, you could say anything.
Like a mind fuck.
Yeah.
And really confused me. So it was everyone else letting me know that. But at that same time, I was actually like, I remember like my back went out. I was in bed for like a month.
Wow.
Like I was like, if I even like turned a little, I would like scream in pain. I would here and there when I could go to, I don't know, fashion events or I had friends' weddings and things. And I would literally bring Dr. Scholl's shoes because I could not stand in my heels. And I was wearing like gowns with these shoes because I was in so much pain. My knees were going out. I would get glam done and it would be off my face in 20 minutes because I was like dripping sweat in my apartment off my face. I think there was like those things, but then there became more serious things where it actually started like clicking a little for me.
This situation also highlights the complexities of the body positivity movement itself. Is it solely about accepting your body at any size, or does it also encompass the right to make personal choices about your health, even if those choices involve weight loss? Where do we draw the line between supporting someone's personal journey and feeling a sense of disconnect when their public persona seems to shift?
The justification, Jesus.
There became more serious things where it actually started like clicking a little for me. I was in pain, so that was one. But then like I had a constant period, and my doctor was telling me I was becoming infertile and at 28. And
That's scary.
yeah, I was always going to a doctor, so I was like tracking and seeing kind of how things were going downhill in terms of my heart, my cholesterol. I mean, they were telling me I was morbidly obese, and there was a number of things. I think the infertile thing definitely hit me,
Right.
and literally the pain that I was in and like limping and like couldn't walk normally and things like that. And then I remember actually that day, again, I keep going back to that video that I posted that you reposted, but that day was when I made this decision.
Ultimately, Remi Bader's weight loss journey is her own. While her followers have the right to process their feelings and express their opinions, it's important to do so with respect and avoid making assumptions about her intentions. Public figures are still human beings, and their relationship with their bodies is complex. And most importantly, theirs.
Everyone that's complaining should post their health records online. The entitlement in this comment section is crazy.
Let's see an example of the comments she got.
You don't owe anyone an explanation, Remi, when your whole platform has been built on being plus size, doing realistic try-on hauls because you're plus size, when you've built an audience around being comfortable, confident, sexy as a plus size woman, and then all of a sudden you randomly turn up like 100 pounds thinner, and not to mention, you're clearly losing weight video after video after video, and for literal months you block any kind of person who asks questions in the comments like, hey, or even just asks like, hey, are you okay?